if the graph g of x has vertical asymptotes here and horizontal asymptotes here, then what is b minus a? So we want to find b and a and then subtract the two to get my answer. So how do we find these? First, we have to look at the vertical asymptotes. Well, the denominator equaling 0 is the vertical asymptotes, all right? So what we do is we want the denominator to equal 0. So let's write that as x squared minus b equaling 0. And I want my answers when I solve this for x to be this. So if I want my answers to be those, well, can we simply go and plug plus or minus 5 right there and solve for b? Won't that give me b? Because that x is what we want as an answer. So let's solve this. What do we get here? Well, when you square that, you get 25. All right. When we solve this, if we add the b over, all right, so we add that b over, we get b equals 25. So if you think about this, if you have the equation y equals something over x squared minus 25, won't that be that we will now get the denominator here, won't this be positive negative 5, make that my vertical asymptotes for this one. Yeah. And if we plug in positive negative 5 up here, we'll get a non-zero on top. Okay, as long as a is not 0. Okay, so we know we have b so far. So b, again, is right here is 25. So now let's look at the top and the bottom. For horizontal asymptotes of 3, when we get horizontal asymptotes, we're going to take the limit as x approaches infinity. And what we now have is negative ax squared, and we know it's going to be x squared minus 25. So we already found b. So we're good with that. So now, okay, we want to find a here. We want to find a. Well, the answer to this particular problem is going to be 3. So we want this whole thing to equal 3 sometime. So what a value would get a 3 out? Well, let's rewrite this as the limit as x approaches infinity. Can't we divide by x squared? So this is a x squared over x squared divided by x squared over x squared minus 25 over x squared. So won't that give us the limit as x approaches infinity of negative a over 1 minus 25 over x squared? Okay, now if we think about this, think back to our horizontal asymptotes. If we plug in infinity, don't we now have, for this, aren't we going to have negative a over 1 minus 0, which is negative a. So negative a equals our horizontal asymptote, which our horizontal asymptote is 3. So what does a have to be? Well, if you divide by negative 1, or multiply both sides by negative 1, you get a equals negative 3. So that would be your a value. If you think about it now and plug this in, that would be negative 3. So let's write this out and you'll see it a little bit better. So if you have the function g of x, all right, equals negative 3 would be a positive 3 over x squared minus 25. This is the equation we have created here. That is an equation that will have this as your horizontal asymptote and these as your vertical asymptotes right there, if you were to go through this process and kind of think it through more. Now the question though is, what's b minus a? So what is b? b is 25. What is a? Negative 3. So what's 25 minus negative 3? That would be 28. So my answer is 28. Let's put it right there as well. Little bit tricky. You have to think outside the box. You have to think what makes the denominator equal 0 for the vertical asymptotes. You have to think of basically this little process to get the other piece. And voila.